Hello. Thank you to the Hrant Dink Foundation, to the judges for recognizing our work here at Rappler. It comes at a crucial time when our organization and our democracy here in the Philippines are struggling to survive. We've written a lot about these two battlefronts that we've faced for the last 5 years: a brutal drug war, tens of thousands killed, and the exponential lies on social media to incite hate and stifle free speech. We battle impunity from the Philippine government and from Facebook. Both see violence, fear, and lies that poison our democracy. Those lies on social media form the basis of my government's many legal cases against us. In January 2018, the government tried to shut Rappler down, alleging that we're foreign owned. We're not, that we are tax evaders. Well, just 6 months earlier, they had given us an award for being a top corporate taxpayer, along with other ridiculous charges. In less than 2 years, I've had to post bail 10 times, right? So in order to stay free and to keep working, I have to fight every step of the way. I am now prevented from traveling, so I am fighting for my basic rights. But here's the other part that's worrisome to me: this violence and hate information operations on social media, on American social media companies. These platforms they've only gotten worse. Governments like mine, like yours, and in more than 80 countries around the world, they use cheap armies on social media to manipulate us, to roll back democracy, and to attack journalists. Here's something that we know everywhere around the world: what happens on social media doesn't stay on social media. Online violence leads to real-world violence. Since 2016, I've felt like Sisyphus and Cassandra combined, repeatedly warning that what is happening here in the Philippines, which for the 6th year in a row, Filipinos spend the most time on the internet and on social media globally for 6 years, right? What is happening here, our dystopian present, is the future of democracies around the world. American biologist E.O. Wilson said it best: we're facing Paleolithic emotions. Our emotions, we're being emotionally manipulated. So Paleolithic emotions, medieval institutions, and godlike technology. Social media, with its highly profitable micro-targeting, this business model has become a behavior modification system. And we users are Pavlov's dogs, experimented on in real time with disastrous consequences. Facebook is the world's largest distributor of news. And yet, studies have shown that lies laced with anger and hate spread faster and further than boring facts. The social media platforms that deliver the facts to you are biased against facts, and they're biased against journalists. They are, by design, dividing us and radicalizing us. This is not a free speech issue. It is not the fault of the users, of us. It's not our fault. These platforms are not merely mirroring humanity. They're making all of us our worst selves, creating emergent behavior that feeds on violence, on fear, highlighting uncertainty, and labeling the rise of autocrats like my leader, enabling the rise of fascism. So think of it like this: without facts, you can't have truth. Without truth, you can't have trust. Without trust, we have no shared reality, and it becomes impossible to deal with our world's existential problems: climate, coronavirus, the atom bomb that's now exploded in our information ecosystem when journalists lost our gatekeeping powers to technology companies. Tech abdicated responsibility for the public sphere and couldn't fathom that information is a public good. Women, people of color, the LGBTQ, those already marginalized, become even more vulnerable As you'll see in the UNESCO report, The Chilling, that was released this May, its lead author, ICFJ's Julie Passetti, was the one who convinced me to speak up when the attacks against me began. Because really, that's the journalist's only defense, to shine the light. So I come out of all of this, the last 5 years of a lot of pain, with 3 appeals for the future. To the men and women who work in government, so governments, to the men and women who work in governments like mine, using a scorched earth policy to grow power, appealing to the worst of human nature, you have the power to stop the erosion of democracy and maintain the rule of law. Your silence means consent. Don't let your ambition or your fear cripple the values of our next generation. To the tech companies, to social media platforms, your business model has divided societies and weakened democracies. Personalization says my reality is different from yours, but all of these realities have to coexist in the public sphere. You can't tear us apart to the point that we don't agree on the facts. Why should you allow lies to spread? It's a great responsibility, but this is not a matter of free speech. It's a gatekeeping role once wielded by human journalists. And as we've seen time and again, this leads to bad things. Consider making the same tough business decisions our little company in the Philippines made to protect the public sphere and to ensure democracy survives. And then finally, the third, to the journalists and activists who continue to fight, we have to stay the course. Sometimes people say you're naive or you're foolish. People say that about us. We're not. These times we're living through require that. Without hope, we have no energy to move forward. We have to take the long view, work together, and know that we're not alone. This is a global battle. This is a heavy award, the Hrant Dink Award. And it smells really nice. It's amazingly beautiful. And this crack in this heavy piece of wood actually shows you the way the fracture lines of society are being split open by the attacks on social media, right? Information operations that's powered by governments. So here you see this bridging, holding it together. That's the role of journalists. I don't think that's changed. So thank you so much for this award, for continuing to shine the light, even under difficult times. We at Rappler always end everything with 2 things, right? We wish for courage to hashtag hold the line. And then this one we say is a goodbye. Courage on. Thank you.